Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for So we rendered an FET price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. We're gonna start with this video with the daily and then moving to the 2-hour charts for each coin. So basically for SUI we are still here in our bullish scenarios where we have multiple scenarios as 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 toward the upside, of course, to take the highs, and potentially another scenario where you finished a three-way zigzag for wave A. You finish also another wave B here. The wave B, of course, can be finished there, and you start to seek after a wave C in double 1-2s here, and then continuation towards the upside. Another final scenario is, of course, a leading diagonal 1 2 3 4 and a 5, where your wave 5, of course, can reach simply the high. However, the wave 3 is here longer than wave 1, therefore a little bit lower possibility than the other bullish scenarios. So for the bearish scenario, what we might have as bearish, of course, since we have finished here a correction and we move for higher, what if this correction turns into an ABC three-wave zigzag and you move even for lower later on? Within an impulse potentially can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. However, very low possibility that, because of course, if we take a look inside this wave 1, you can see that it can be, of course, simply a three waves zigzag here in highest possibility. Therefore, a wave 1 here is, of course, very far for, of course, wave 3, 4, and a 5 to unfold. For a wave B, which it might be much more lower than this. Therefore, high possibility wave B has finished already there. Now, if we dive inside it, of course, after multiple double 1, 2 here, we are seeking to finish, of course, this wave 2. This wave 2 is still, of course, unfolding here as a potential ABC, A, B, and a C, where your wave C is not finished yet, and we need to finish, of course, as an ending diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Currently, you are in the wave 4, probably in the wave 5. Let's see it, of course, much more closer here on the 2 hours chart. So on the 2 hours chart, we can see that in case you are in a W, X, and a Y, therefore, you finish the wave Y here and you are already impulsive towards the upside. You're looking here for a bull run to unfold. Therefore, you can consider this kind of a leading diagonal wave 1, a 2, and a 3 towards higher prices, of course, for an impulse to unfold, of course, for a bull run. Unless this turns into an A, B, and a C for a longer time here a little bit, which is required anyway for a wave 4 in this ending diagonal. So you can see the wave 2 here and the wave 4 still need a little bit more time here to finish up, and then moving for the final wave 5 as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. We are currently in the perfect fib levels for a wave 4, which it has to finish, of course, as an ABC. And if we get a closer look here at this wave C, it is very close also to finish in 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for a wave C in a wave 4. So yes, this is the highest possibility, of course, for SUI here. Still looking for a little bit higher, but potentially we might drop down again, of course, for wave 5 to finish up, of course, this ending diagonal. By all means, if we are bullish from here, or even getting a lower low and then being bullish from there, well, the bullish scenario is very close to unfold sooner or later, I would say. That was it for SUI. Let's move for render here on the daily as well. Let's start with all-time history for a render, where we are looking as well to those bullish scenarios here as 1, 2, 1, 2 here. First scenario where you have impulse correction, and you're looking for wave 3 toward the upside to unfold. Another possibility is a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The wave 5 might simply take the high here as a leading diagonal, very nice leading shape diagonal, and of course can be very high possibility. Final scenario is a zigzag wave A, zigzag wave B. You're looking for a wave C towards the upside 1 to 1 fib level, $17, or simply taking the high, of course, all-time high for render. As bearish, which is kind of like a bigger correction here after already having 3 waves down, you get here kind of like a triangle, A, B, C, D, and a E, of course, as a wave B. And we drop down, of course, for one more wave C here, which it can finish a bigger wave B, right? And then moving toward the upside. This can even preserve, of course, the leading diagonal that we might have. So also it is a possibility because the bullish scenario is still, of course, valid even if we get lower. So the possibilities are, of course, here 50-50 still, since we are still in a potential A, B, C, D, E. Now, internally, if we take a look, of course, closer here, after having potentially can be considered, of course, a double 1-2. And by all means, that you might have a big wave 1-2 here, another one, a 2. And this wave 2 is still, of course, unfolding here as a potential 3 ways down in W, X, and a Y. If you finished here in the blue box as requested, and we are bullish from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can be, of course, a possibility. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 as well can be over there ready. Now, if we are still in an ending diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, because you're still in the perfect fib levels here, and the time required for a wave 4 is very acceptable to have another wave C here, and then moving toward the downside for a wave 5. Currently, the wave C on the 15-minute chart looks already a 1-2, and you have several 1-2s, 3, 4, 5 for 5 for wave 3, and then wave 4 and a 5 to finish a wave C. In the blue box again, taking the high, finishing ABC, wave 4, and dropping down again for a final wave 5 in a diagonal here. Now, again, if you are bullish from here, it is fine, can be. And of course, if one more leg, one more drop, can be very possible and bullish from there. However, of course, the risk is higher to take it from here. But of course, as well, it would be, of course, wise if you have a strategy and a plan to take it from there, of course, so you don't miss the bull run in case, of course, that it has started as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and not being, of course, trapped with waiting for a wave 5 downward. So, of course, have a strategy and a plan for this setup, of course. Now, another scenario that it can be, of course, as I mentioned, the triangle here. And that means, of course, if you are in an A, B, C, D, and an E, the wave E is going to finish toward the upside, meaning, of course, dropping down again for lower. And this means, of course, that you would like to see anyway a bigger zigzag, which is a little bit lower possibility because you need, of course, an impulse, correction, and then an impulse, and then dropping down. But I still, of course, find it a low possibility. Another coin we have here in the pocket is FET, and we're gonna go to the all-time history as well to check what do we have there as bullish and bearish scenarios. For the bullish scenarios, we have, of course, a leading diagonal wave 1, correction wave 2, and then followed by double 1-2s here. The second wave 2 hit the 0.618 perfectly, and you move impulsively in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Currently, the wave 2 is not finished yet. We're gonna see it later, of course, in the lower time frame. Another possibility is a leading diagonal, of course, wave 5, that it might reach, of course, the high also. And the same for all the bullish scenarios that we have on the daily. All of them has to reach the all-time high. And we might see after, of course, a wave 5 here. The final scenario is a zigzag 3 waves, up 3 waves down, finished as a correction wave B, and then, of course, moving for a wave C towards the upside impulsively, of course, towards higher prices. Bearish scenario is not enough to have just 3 waves here. It is a bigger 3 waves downward, meaning this wave B might shift to this area. And that is, of course, to get this scenario, you need first, of course, a corrective channel here. ABC, 1-to-1 fib level at least, not reach anyway, and then dropping down. Unless you are also the same as rendered in a triangle ABCDE, and then dropping down. Now, in this case scenario, I feel like this is a little bit far scenario because this is an impulse. And in a triangle, you cannot have an impulse. Okay, you need a zigzag. And this is not a zigzag here. Therefore, very far possibility for wave B to finish there. Higher possibility finished over here. So, let's move inside it on the 2 hours chart. On the 2 hours chart, we can see clearly that we need actually time for a wave 4 here to end up a diagonal, because the diagonal is very squeezed here and very high probability that you are in an ABC for a wave 4 here, still in a potential, of course, diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to hit perfectly the common target in confluence 0.53, very likely in an A, B, and a C. If you are in a W, X, and a Y here, you're set and ready, of course, for higher prices. If we dive inside it, you can see that this can be, of course, a leading diagonal or an impulse, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and no interfering. However, we have to be careful, of course, from the zigzag ABC for the diagonal wave 4 here. We need to break, of course, this area first, and then, of course, call another potential bullish scenario. And especially, of course, when you break the 1-to-1 fib level in confluence, of course, with this area, A, B, and a C. 15-minute chart, we can see clearly we are in 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. It has to be an extended wave 5 because your wave 3 here is a little bit short. So probably, yes, we might get a little bit extended wave 5, even not reaching exactly the 1-to-1 fib level, and then start to drop down, of course, for a wave 5 here to finish a wave 2 and then moving bullish again. That was it for SUI render and FET. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.